Welcome to another Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road Edition. Today we're doing part 2 of the continuation of the Sand Lick Hollerwood Blackberry Ridge from part 1. This is part 2. We're going to pop a map up here and you'll see where we start. Down here where part 2 starts, we're going to take Hollerwood 13 around Jimmy's Bend to 17, and then back Blackberry Ridge and then into Sand Lick again. And this is the trail view Hollerwood view that we just saw there. And here we are taking off from lunch, and I have a GPX map available. Works on both OnX and GaiaGPS available if anybody wants it. I sped this up quite a bit to get it all to fit in the time. I didn't want to make it too long, so we got some more rocks in the beginning and then water at the end. Again, we're on Hollerwood 13 here. Hollerwood's off-road park in eastern Kentucky. Spans, I believe, Lee, Wolf, and Powell counties. We're approaching our first obstacle of the afternoon. Doesn't look like a whole lot from the seat perspective, but if you look at the left front wheel when we get up here to it, it's a little bit of a sharp turn. There's a pretty good sized rock that we need to stay to the right of. You'll see how far to the right I am when we get there. And we're approaching it now. And there's the rock you can see on the left with the left front view. Picture in a picture at the bottom there. And you can see me hitting the trees to the right, and you'll see my tire right up next to that rock, and that's how you get by that. Sometimes you may have to take a couple of shots at that to get by it. This trail is probably a 5 or a 6 out of 10. That's a little rougher. This is about as much as I built my Jeep to do. Again, I'm on 33s. Everybody else here is on 35s or 36s. We have 2 Cherokees, a Land Cruiser, and 2 Wranglers. Both 99 TJs, the one in front of me and me. Now here I'm coming up on a rock that I'm going to get hung up on. This is what is taking a bit here. And if you look at that left front view of the tire, you'll see as I get up on this rock, I can't get over it. I slip right off of it, slip down. I take a couple of tries at it, and it just isn't going by. So I'm going to back up here and with a little help from my friends, get me over it. While we stand here and think about it, now we've decided what we're doing. I sped this up, so it took a little longer to pile up these rocks than it looks like here. Nobody moves that fast. And if you keep an eye on the rear picture in the picture, you'll also see behind me. And I'll have another view of that in a minute. So I'm going up over the rocks they stacked for me and right up and right over it. And here's a rear view. You can see where diffs have been dragging in the mud. That may only be mine, but it's a pretty deep rut there, as you can tell. Back up and pull up a couple of times, and then here we go over it. And you can see the rock as we get over it. My front diff was catching on that. And on to the next one. There's a couple of different lines here you can take. If you notice up ahead of me, the TJ is going to go to the right, and looks like one of the Cherokees is nosed over in a different way. That's a little bit different area there. Now if you notice, I'm sliding to the right here. Can't quite get it to go where I want it to go. But eventually I stay higher to the left and get right up next to that stump and get past it. Now can't make this sharp turn quite easy enough, so I have to pull up and back up, and then we're going to go down this little hill here. It really isn't much of a problem. No dragging involved here. And off we go. I'm going to go down a little creek here. After we get down here a little bit, we'll see the other Cherokee behind me, the guy bringing up the rear. He gets hung up, so we're going to stop and watch him winch himself out. Okay, got his rear diff hung in the mud on that, taking that secondary line, and he's pulling his tree strap around that tree, and I sped this up quite a bit too. He's going to winch himself out. And there he is. Now keep an eye on that tree he's strapped to, because when he takes this tree saver off, he thinks the tree is falling on him. A big chunk of the bark falls. It's going to be falling right on him here any second. It was kind of a scared moment there for a second, startled anyway. Pulled himself right out. Didn't want any assistance, I offered. Again, this is obviously sped up. And here we go. Off on to the next spot. There's a lot going on this trail. Lots of water, lots of tight spots, some drop-offs. Some spots need spotting. I think this is another one here. Nope, no spotting involved here, but if you look at that rock wall, we're going to run right along that in this creek. Pretty cool geologic formation. And if you look to the left, you can see the mountain laurel, and some people call them rhododendron. They're in the same family. And continue to look at the rock here as we go by it in this little creek. It's a little tight, but not too bad. Everybody gets through it, no problem. And I believe we're coming up on another little tight spot. It's taking a minute to get through. Everybody in front of us, 2 TJs, are a little bit longer, so this is a tight spot. We'll see when we get up there. As we go up this little rock shelf here, there's a couple of trees, and this is kind of a tight turn, even for a TJ. This was about a 2.5 hour video that I cut down to 20 minutes, so there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. The nice fun ride takes a while, and here I'm gonna get a little spot coming down this drop off here. Had to get square with it so you didn't roll, get too far off to one side. Gotta be careful with some of these things. And as soon as you get down, you gotta make a left. We actually stopped here for a few minutes, but through the magic of editing, we're not gonna stop long. So we back up or pull up and get ourselves in order here, and right down the creek we go. And let's see what the next obstacle brings. looks like we'll go up this hill here. I cut a lot of this out. This is kind of a sharp turn. I don't know which Hollerwood trail we're on here, but we're going to go up this hill, and it was pretty rocky going up this hill on this side and pretty muddy going down the other side, I believe. We'll see when we get there. It wasn't nothing. It was hard to traverse though. This trail's got a lot of stuff. Ruts, rocks, about everything you'd want. And here's the mud hill. All of us, this gravity was our friend here. I don't think we'd have made it up on this day, up this hill otherwise. Going down it, we were able to with the help of gravity. And here we go down another rocky hill. There's water at the bottom. Been raining up here. There's a lot of water around. It's typically wet anyway, but the water was particularly higher than usual on this day. Makes for good video. The water rushing behind, and through the left front wheel you can see how deep it is. Now we're going down another rocky hill into more water. And off we go after a short stop. And you can see the water is relatively deep. These 36s are about halfway down in the water. But this part of the country's got rocky bottoms, so you don't have to worry too much about muddy bottoms in these creeks. They're all rocky bottoms, so you can go through them pretty well. Now, if you notice right there, his passenger side rear dropped in a rut there, so it was a little deeper on that right side. And we just drive up the creek. And more up the creek. And you see how deep the water is. I think this is the spot. Yeah, this is the spot. There's a little waterfall off to the left here coming down the hill, and they're getting a quick picture or video of it right there. And I think I stopped for a second as well, admire it, and move on. And we're going to switch to rear view here and watch this Cherokee come up behind me in the water. As you can see how deep it is. And away we go. Water and rocks, rocks and water. Lots of it today, on this particular day. I believe this was 3/25/23. Same day as part one. Part one was before lunch, part two is after lunch. Again, I sped this up just so we could get through everything. I cut a lot out, but a lot of this I wanted to leave in just so you could see it. We do eventually double back and go back sand lick, and I cut most of that out when we get to the end. But right now we're still moving right along. It looks the same, it seems like, but it's not. This is all different spots. There's lots of water, lots of creeks, lots of crossings. Beautiful day. Next time there'll probably be more trees with leaves on them. They're just starting to bud out now. Obviously there's a few evergreens in the area as well. I appreciate everybody that watches. Don't forget, this is Nature's Glory Cabin. We have a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, and a web address, www.naturesglorycabin.com. We rent our cabin when we're not using it, and we use it a lot. Hope y'all enjoy it. And you'll notice that I took a bypass here with the other guys, and the red TJ stayed in the creek. There are several places like that where you can do either. I think we're probably on Sand Lick again now. We might start to recognize a few spots. I'll point out one or two as I see them. I think this is one of them. Notice the drop off there? I think we went up that in part one. There's something I left in here I wanted to show, so we're going to do a little bit of this before we cut out most of it. If you remember in part one where I went down that rock incline, well, we're going to climb that and go up it. Everybody is. Now, you don't have to do that. There is a bypass around it, and when we get there, I'll point that out. Most of Sand Lick is pretty easily accessible, and about anybody could do it without having to worry about it. But when you get back in those others we went on, you wouldn't want to do those alone. And actually, this water's kind of high. You might want to be careful of that as well. Again, as always, if you don't know the area, or if you're not sure of yourself, make sure you have somebody with you. And sometimes, depending on how bad it is, you need to not be alone anyway. And be sure, if you're with a group, to follow the etiquette. Make sure you can see the person in front of you and the person behind you. And if you don't have GMRS radio communications, like most of us do these days, but if you don't, honk your horn, flash your lights, get somebody's attention if for some reason you fall behind. Even though we're on Sand Lick again, going a different direction, it actually looks different. And here we're coming up to the rock wall, I guess you call it, that we went down in part one. And actually, if you wanted to go around to the right, you see the Land Cruiser up there. You could go around to the right and go around this if you chose. We're all going to go up it today. So around to the right would be the bypass in the creek. If you recall, when I went down this in part one, I drug pretty good. The back bumper did. Well, the hitch on the back bumper did. Didn't hurt it. Now, we didn't drag quite as bad this time, but I'll point out where you can see, I'll switch to a rear view and you'll see the rear tire touch the water as it drags slightly. We stopped here for a little bit before we headed back out, and again, I cut some of this out. We went this way on part one. we didn't really part ways here. We've lost the Cherokee that was behind me already. He took a different direction. And the rest of us went on and on. More water, more deep water. And it looks pretty deep here. And we're going to pull up here and stop and talk a bit and visit amongst ourselves. And when we're through here, we'll head on out. You'll see us here in the video in the front of the Jeep here in a minute, the whole crew. And we hung out a few minutes, talked about what we're going to do next, and maybe next time we ride on the trail. And here we go. The two TJs are leaving. I think the other two hung around for a while. And we're out of here. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Come back and watch more if you like it, and you feel like you want to like it and subscribe to it. Thanks for watching.